Your son needs you to come home right now. That was the message waiting on my phone when I landed in Lyon. Not from Jessica. From my mother. Her voice cracked in a way I had never heard before. My name is Robert. I am 37 years old and I work as a regional sales director for Veltri Dynamics, an industrial equipment manufacturer based in Portland, Oregon. I had been in France for 5 days, closing a deal that would secure our European expansion. The trip was going well. I had just signed the contracts that morning. I called my mother back immediately. She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "Mom, what happened? Is it Ethan? Is he hurt?" "Robert," she gasped. "Jessica said you were in a car accident. She said you are dead." Everything stopped. The noise of the airport faded. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what she had just said. "Mom, I am fine. I am standing right here." "What are you talking about?" She could not answer. She just kept crying. I told her to breathe, to listen to my voice, to understand that I was alive. It took several minutes before she could speak again. "She posted it on Facebook," my mother finally said. "Jessica posted that you died in a crash in France. Everyone saw it. Everyone thinks you are gone." I opened Facebook on my phone. My hands were shaking. The post was there. Jessica had written it 3 hours earlier. She described a terrible accident on a rural road outside Lyon. She said I had died instantly. She even included details about how the French authorities had contacted her. The post had over 200 comments. Friends, co-workers, distant relatives, all of them offering condolences, all of them mourning me. I scrolled through the messages. My father had written a tribute. My college roommate said he could not believe it. My boss at Veltri Dynamics had commented about what a loss this was for the company. I called Jessica. She answered on the first ring. "Oh my God, Robert, you are alive," she said, laughing. "I am so glad you saw it. I was going to tell you before you saw it yourself." "What the hell did you just do?" "It was a prank, babe. Just a joke. I wanted to see how people would react. You have to admit, it is kind of funny." I could not speak. I stood there in the middle of the airport, staring at my phone, listening to my wife laugh about announcing my death to the world. "Robert, are you there?" I hung up. Jessica and I had been married for 8 years. We met in Seattle when I was working my first job out of college. She was a graphic designer, funny and spontaneous. I liked that about her back then. She made life feel less serious. But over the years, her sense of humor started to change. She would play pranks that went too far. Once, she told my mother that we were getting divorced just to see how she would react. Another time, she posted a fake pregnancy announcement on social media and watched people congratulate us before revealing it was a joke. I always brushed it off. I told myself she was just being playful. We had a son, Ethan. He was 5 years old. Smart kid. Quiet. He looked like me. I worked long hours to provide for them. Jessica stayed home with Ethan, though she spent most of her time on her phone or shopping online. I never complained. I thought that was what marriage was. You made sacrifices, you kept going. But this was different. This was not a joke. This was cruelty. I spent the next hour calling people, my father, my brother, my boss. I had to explain to each of them that I was alive, that Jessica had made the whole thing up. Some of them were relieved. Others were confused. A few were angry. My father barely said anything. He just hung up after I told him. Jessica called me 6 more times that evening. I did not answer. She sent a dozen text messages. Most of them were defensive. She said I was overreacting. She said it was just a prank and I needed to lighten up. The last message said she had deleted the post and that everything was fine now. Everything was not fine. I looked at the comments again before she deleted the post. People had poured their hearts out. They had shared memories of me. They had grieved. And Jessica had watched it all unfold like it was entertainment. I thought about Ethan. I thought about what kind of person does something like this, what kind of mother, what kind of wife. I made a decision that night. I was not going home. I called my lawyer, a man named Gregory who had handled some contract work for me in the past. I told him what happened. He listened quietly. "Robert," he said, "this is more than just a bad joke. This is psychological abuse. If you are serious about protecting yourself and your son, we need to document everything." I was serious. I booked a new hotel room in Lyon. I did not tell Jessica where I was. I did not tell anyone except Gregory. I needed time to think, to plan, to figure out what came next, because I was not going back to her. Not now. Maybe not ever. 2 days passed. Jessica kept calling. I ignored every single one. She left voicemails that started angry and ended with her crying. She sent messages accusing me of abandoning her and Ethan. She said I was being cruel. I was not cruel. I was protecting myself. Gregory called me on the third day. He had reviewed everything: the Facebook post, the messages, the pattern of behavior over the years. He said we had a strong case if I wanted to pursue custody of Ethan. "But Robert," he warned, "this is going to be ugly. She will fight you. And if you disappear now, it might hurt your case." "What do you mean, disappear?" "You need to be strategic. If you stay away too long without contact, she could claim abandonment. But if you go back, you are walking into a situation where she has control. You need to decide what you want." I thought about Ethan. I thought about the kind of life he would have if he stayed with Jessica. I thought about what she might do to him one day when she wanted attention or got bored. "I want full custody," I said. "Then you need to come back. But not yet. Let her panic. Let her realize what she did. Document everything. Every message, every call, every lie she tells, and when the time is right, we move." I stayed in France for another week. I extended my hotel. I told Veltri Dynamics that I needed personal time to handle a family emergency. They did not ask questions. Jessica posted on Facebook again. This time, she said I had chosen to abandon my family after a misunderstanding. She painted herself as the victim. Some people believed her. Others started to question what really happened. A few friends reached out to me directly. I did not respond. I watched her unravel from across the ocean. My mother called again. She was calmer now, but still hurt. She asked me when I was coming home. I told her I needed time. She did not understand, but she did not push. My father called once. He said 4 words: "Do what you have to do." I saved every message Jessica sent, every voicemail, every social media post. Gregory was right. I needed evidence, and Jessica was giving me plenty. On the 8th day, I received a message that changed everything. It was from Jessica's sister, Lauren. She said Jessica had told their family that I had been having an affair in France, and that I had abandoned Ethan to be with another woman. That was when I knew. She was not just reckless, she was dangerous. I booked a flight back to the United States, not to Portland, to Boise, Idaho, where Gregory had an office. It was time to plan my next move. I stayed in Boise for 3 weeks. Gregory and I built the case piece by piece. He filed for separation on my behalf and requested temporary custody of Ethan, based on Jessica's history of emotional instability and manipulation. We included everything: the fake death post, the messages, the lies she had told her family. Jessica did not see it coming. The papers were served to her on a Thursday morning. She called me within minutes. I answered this time. "What the hell is this, Robert? You are suing me for custody? Are you insane?" "I am protecting my son." "Protecting him? From what? From me? I am his mother." "You announced my death as a prank, Jessica. You lied to everyone who cares about me. You are unstable." She started screaming. I could hear Ethan crying in the background. That sound broke something in me, but I did not let her hear it. "You are going to regret this," she said. "I will make sure you never see him again." She hung up. Gregory warned me that she would retaliate. He was right. Within days, Jessica filed a counterclaim. She accused me of abandonment, emotional abuse, and infidelity. She said I had left her and Ethan without support. She said I was an unfit father. Her lawyer was aggressive. They demanded full custody and child support. They painted me as a man who ran away when things got tough. I sat in Gregory's office reading the documents. My hands were steady, but inside, I felt the weight of it all. She was willing to destroy me to save herself. Can she win? I asked. Not if we stay focused, Gregory said. But she is going to make this as painful as possible. You need to be ready for that. I was ready. The court scheduled a preliminary hearing for 2 months later. In the meantime, Jessica was granted temporary custody of Ethan. I was allowed supervised visits once a week. It killed me to see my son for only an hour at a time, knowing she was filling his head with lies about me. During one visit, Ethan asked me why I had left. I did not leave you, buddy, I said. I am still here. I am fighting to be with you. He looked at me with those big, confused eyes. Mom says you do not love us anymore. I held him close. I could not let him see me break. Jessica was not done. She started posting on social media again. This time she shared vague messages about betrayal and single motherhood. She posted pictures of Ethan with captions like, "Just the two of us now." People who did not know the full story rallied around her. They called me a deadbeat. They said I had abandoned my family. I wanted to fight back. I wanted to tell the world what she had done. But Gregory told me to stay quiet. Let her dig her own grave, he said. Every post she makes is evidence. Every lie she tells will come back to her. So I stayed silent. I let her think she was winning. But I was planning. I was gathering. I was building a case that would leave her with nothing. 3 weeks before the hearing, I received a message from someone I did not expect. It was from Jessica's friend, a woman named Kendra. She said she needed to talk to me. She said she had something I needed to see. We met at a coffee shop in Portland. Kendra looked nervous. She handed me a folder. I should not be doing this, she said, but you need to know what she is really like. Inside the folder were screenshots, messages between Jessica and Kendra, messages where Jessica bragged about the death prank, messages where she laughed about how people had reacted, messages where she admitted she did it because she was bored and wanted attention. There was more. Messages where Jessica talked about manipulating the custody case. Messages where she discussed coaching Ethan to say things about me that were not true. Why are you giving me this? I asked. Kendra looked down. Because I have a son too, and if someone did to me what she did to you, I would want someone to help me. I took the folder. I thanked her, and I walked out of that coffee shop knowing I had just gained the upper hand. Gregory reviewed the messages. He said they were admissible. He said they would change everything. This proves premeditation, he said. She did not just make a mistake. She planned it. She enjoyed it. And now she is manipulating the custody case. We added the messages to our evidence. We subpoenaed Jessica's phone records and social media accounts. We dug deeper into her history. What we found was worse than I expected. Jessica had a pattern. This was not the first time she had pulled something like this. Gregory found old posts from years ago where she had staged fake breakups with ex-boyfriends for attention. He found messages where she had lied to friends and family for sympathy. She had been doing this her entire adult life. I thought about all the years I had ignored the signs. I thought about how many times I had brushed off her behavior as harmless. I had been blind, but I was not blind anymore. The hearing was set for a Friday morning. I flew back to Portland 2 days early. I stayed in a hotel near the courthouse. I did not tell Jessica I was in town. Gregory and I met the night before the hearing. He went over the strategy. We would present the evidence methodically, the Facebook post, the lies to her family, the messages to Kendra, the pattern of manipulation. We would show that Jessica was not fit to have primary custody of Ethan. Are you ready for this? Gregory asked. I have been ready since the day she posted that I was dead. The courthouse was cold and sterile. Jessica was already there when I arrived. She was sitting with her lawyer, a sharp-looking woman in a gray suit. Jessica glared at me. I did not look away. The judge entered. We all stood. The hearing began. Jessica's lawyer went first. She painted a picture of a devoted mother who had been abandoned by her husband. She talked about how I had left Jessica and Ethan without support. She talked about how Jessica had been forced to raise Ethan alone while I was off living my life. It was all lies. But the lawyer delivered it well. Then it was our turn. Gregory stood. He laid out the facts, the Facebook post, the messages, the manipulation. He showed the court the screenshots from Kendra. He showed the pattern of behavior. He showed that Jessica was not just irresponsible. She was dangerous. Jessica's face went pale. Her lawyer tried to object, but the judge allowed the evidence. Gregory called Kendra to the stand. She testified about the messages. She testified about how Jessica had laughed about the prank. She testified about the coaching. Jessica's lawyer tried to discredit her, but Kendra did not back down. Then Gregory called me. I sat in the witness stand and told the truth. I told the court about the phone call from my mother. I told them about the grief I watched my family go through. I told them about the lies Jessica had spread. I told them about the fear I felt for my son. Jessica's lawyer tried to twist my words. She asked why I had stayed away for so long. She asked why I had not come home immediately. Because I needed to protect myself, I said, and I needed to protect my son from someone who sees other people's pain as entertainment. The judge listened. She took notes. She did not show emotion. When the hearing ended, the judge said she would issue her decision within a week. I walked out of that courthouse knowing I had done everything I could. The week felt like a year. I stayed in Portland, waiting for the decision. I did not see Jessica. I did not see Ethan. I just waited. Gregory called me on a Tuesday morning. The judge ruled in your favor. I sat down. I could not speak. You have primary custody, Gregory said. Jessica gets supervised visitation. The judge cited her history of manipulation and emotional abuse. She called the death prank a cruel and calculated act designed to inflict emotional harm. I closed my eyes. I felt the weight lift. When can I see him? Today. I will arrange it. I picked up Ethan from Jessica's house that afternoon. She was standing in the doorway, her face red and swollen. She did not say a word. She just watched as Ethan walked toward me. Hey, buddy, I said, kneeling down. Dad, he said, and he ran into my arms. Jessica turned and slammed the door. I took Ethan back to my new apartment. It was small, but it was ours. I had set up his room the week before. I had bought his favorite snacks. I had made it feel like home. That night I tucked him into bed. He looked up at me and asked, "Are you going to leave again?" "No," I said. "I am never leaving you again." He smiled. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Jessica tried to fight the decision. She filed an appeal. She sent me angry messages. She posted on social media again, this time claiming the court system was biased against mothers. But no one was listening anymore. The truth was out. Her family distanced themselves. Her friends stopped defending her. Even Kendra cut ties with her. Jessica lost her job a few months later. She had been working part-time at a local boutique, but they let her go after the custody case became public. She moved in with her mother. She rarely saw Ethan, and when she did, the visits were strained. I did not gloat. I did not celebrate. I just focused on rebuilding my life with my son. Ethan started school in Portland. He made friends. He laughed more. He stopped asking about the past. I stayed at Veltri Dynamics. My boss understood what I had been through. He gave me flexibility. He let me work from home when I needed to be with Ethan. 3 years passed. Ethan was 8 now. He was thriving. He played soccer. He loved science. He was happy. I thought about Jessica sometimes. I wondered if she ever understood what she had done, if she ever felt remorse. But I did not dwell on it. She was not part of our lives anymore. One evening, Ethan and I were sitting on the couch, watching a movie. He leaned against me and said, "I am glad you did not die, Dad." I looked down at him. "Me too, buddy." He smiled and went back to the movie. I sat there, holding my son, and I realized something. Jessica had tried to take everything from me, my reputation, my family, my life. But she had not won, because I was still here. And so was Ethan. And that was all that mattered. 2 years after the custody ruling, I received a notification. Jessica had tried to file for custody modification. Her lawyer claimed she had turned her life around and deserved another chance. Gregory called me immediately. "Do not worry. She does not have a case. But we should respond." We went back to court. This time, it was faster. The judge reviewed Jessica's record. The manipulation, the lies, the pattern of behavior. She had not changed. If anything, things had gotten worse. Her social media was still full of victim narratives. She still refused to take responsibility. The judge denied her request in under 10 minutes. "This court sees no evidence of meaningful change," the judge said. "Custody will remain with the father." Jessica stood up. "This is not fair. I am his mother." The judge looked at her, unmoved. "You forfeited that privilege when you chose cruelty over compassion." Jessica left the courtroom in tears. Her lawyer followed, looking defeated. I walked out with Gregory. We did not celebrate. We just shook hands. "That is it," Gregory said. "She cannot touch you now." I nodded. I felt nothing, not anger, not relief, just closure. Jessica faded from our lives completely after that. She stopped asking for visits. She stopped posting about Ethan. She just disappeared into her own world, isolated and alone. Her family stopped speaking to her. Her mother eventually told me that Jessica had moved to another state. I did not ask where. I did not care. Ethan rarely mentioned her. When he did, it was without emotion. She had become a stranger to him. I focused on being the father he needed. I showed up, I listened, I protected him. And slowly, the weight of what Jessica had done faded. It did not disappear. It never would. But it no longer controlled me. I had won. Not because I destroyed her, but because I saved my son. And that was enough. Ethan is 10 now. He plays baseball. He wants to be an engineer. He talks about building bridges and rockets. He is smart, kind, and resilient. Jessica's life fell apart in ways I could have never predicted. She lost custody permanently. She lost her relationship with her family. She lost her reputation. She ended up working low-wage jobs and moving from place to place, unable to hold anything together. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she tried to reach out to Ethan on his birthday last year. She sent a card. I gave it to him. He opened it, read it, and put it in a drawer without a word. He did not ask about her. He did not seem to care. Jessica had destroyed herself. Not because of what I did to her, but because of what she did to herself. She had spent so many years manipulating people, lying and playing games that when it all caught up with her, there was nothing left. I sometimes think about that night in Lyon when my mother called me in tears. I think about how close I came to just brushing it off, to going home and pretending everything was fine. But I did not. I made a choice. I chose my son. I chose myself. Jessica wanted to see what loss felt like for everyone else. She wanted to watch people grieve. She wanted the attention. In the end, she was the one who lost everything. I look at Ethan now, and I see a kid who knows he is loved, who knows he is safe. And I realize that is all I ever wanted. I did not need revenge. I just needed to protect him. And I did.